reading A Mother of Three by Clotilde Graves. Playing Professor Murgatroyd.
Shaoul Rick Chason.
Playing Colonel Sir Wellington Port.
And Bernard Bosio.
Playing Napier Outram Port.
Thomas Kane.
Playing Captain Tuckle and Chevalier Thrupp.
Michael Janove.
Playing Sooza, Amelia, and Vesta.
Heather Violanti.
Playing Lady Port.
Ms. Bove.
Playing Cassiopeia, Maria Elena Ardolino. Playing Mrs. Murgatroyd.
Valerie O'Hara.
And playing Aquila.
Jennifer Finger.
Upon the rise of the curtain, Cassiopeia, Vesta, and Aquila, three pretty girls of 18, nicely but cheaply dressed in fresh cotton print morning gowns, are discovered. Vesta is curled up in the window seat, deep in a yellow-backed novel. Aquila kneels beside the dummy, carefully repairing the skirt of the ball dress. Cassiopeia lounges with rather a fatigued air in a basketwork armchair, languidly cleaning a soiled pair of white satin slippers with stale breadcrumbs.
To think that we three girls have only one pair of satin to choose between us. It's positively too painful.
It would be if our feet weren't all the same size.
Was last night's ball scrumptious?
Oh, heavenly. I sat out all the square dances. Danced all the round ones, extras included.
Oh.
And arrived home in rags at 3 this morning.
Rags indeed.
Please don't be disrespectful of a dress of mine.
I suppose I am at liberty to gird at my own gown.
Don't fight, girls, over my frock. I suppose we figure in the fashionable intelligence as usual this week.
Has anyone seen the Roxy recorder?
Here. Saturday, August the 6th. I took it for an old one.
Listen, the last week of the season closed with unusual brilliancy. On Monday night, Captain Rodney Tuckle and the officers of Her Majesty's armored line of battleship Gentle Gazelle entertained the elite of Roxy to a dance on board. The upper deck was covered with bunting, and the giddy votaries of Terpsichore. I shall skip all that. There's a long list of persons who are present. I shall skip them and move on to the mention of myself. Now, this is really interesting. Mrs. Murgatroyd, who was imposingly attired in black velvet.
The black velvet?
Chaperone Miss Aquila Murgatroyd, who looked charming in a dainty confection of white and blue.
White and blue. There you are.
Now go on to Wednesday.
On Wednesday evening, the principal and pupils of Gorman's Civil Service cramming establishment invited the rank and fashion of Roxy to a dancing at home at the assembly rooms. The band of the Blue Marines contributed to the harmony of the...
That it only gets more exciting when I come in.
Mrs. Murgatroyd, who wore a rich demi-toilet of black velvet.
Of course.
Chaperone Miss Vesta Murgatroyd, who looked spirituelle in an exquisite harmony of white and pink.
There you are, white and pink.
Now read about last night.
I don't think... Oh, here, down at the bottom in the corner. Colonel Sir Wellington Port, K.C.B., and the officers of the newly arrived battalion of the Queen's Own Royal Rampers gave a ball last night at the barracks, at which the creme de la creme of Roxy society...
Skip that.
Mrs. Murgatroyd wore black velvet.
Poor mums.
Miss Cassiopeia Murgatroyd.
Well?
Satin cream.
Cream.
You didn't suppose it was going to last white forever, did you? It's creaming, you can't deny.
It has chrome. Oh, why aren't we rich enough to have a ball dress apiece instead of taking it in turns to flaunt this faded relic?
One thing is certain, we can't wear it anymore.
It may die.
It is dead and buried. And unless we can raise another...
We must, for the future, decline invitations for the evening. Oh,
What on earth is the incubus doing upstairs?
Packing a portmanteau to judge by the bumps on the ceiling.
oh, why did Mums ever attempt to increase our so insufficient income by taking in a boarder?
A decayed wine merchant who wears a wig.
Joy. Perhaps he has paid Mums and is going away.
He will never pay and he will never go away. I've come to that conclusion.
We oughtn't go on like this, letting the skimpy shallow of an insolvent elderly gentleman cast a blight over our newly budding prospects. Consider it's the end of the season and we're all engaged again.
Oh,
Oh, all engaged again.
firmly, positively engaged.
For the 5th time since Christmas, I suppose it would be only right and proper to confide our secret to Mums.
Oh, don't let us be too precipitate this time.
Yes, let us be very, very careful this time.
Don't let us have Mizpah rings this time.
Why not?
I have an idea they're unlucky. Think how many we've put on and taken off again.
And don't let us exchange locks of hair this time.
I support the last speaker. Don't let us.
Why not?
Well, think of how many we've given away already. In view of a day, years hence, when the supply may not equal the demand, I say again, don't let us.
I vote we don't tell our ages this time.
Why not? After all, we're only just 18.
It's the fact of our all being only just 18 that people find so indigestible.
That's true. When they're asked to believe that we burst upon society simultaneously, they look queer.
And when they discover that Mums is not a real widow, but belongs to the grass variety, they look queerer still.
Why does society sneeze at grass widows?
Because they've a reputation for making hay while the sun shines.
But it's when people find out that we have a papa
Who has occupied a post in Peru for 18 years without ever coming home, that they look queerest of all.
And then, then they say,
Don't repeat what they say. How often have we been goaded with the repetition of that standard geographical fact?
You mean about Peru being a long way off?
Ah,
Oh. Excuse me, dears.
what is
what
it?
is it?
The gentle gazelle goes in for heavy gun practice at 1 o'clock today. In another moment, I shall have a message from Rodney Tuckle.
Ooh,
Ooh,
1, 2. You can unplug your ears, girls. It's all over. Rodney Tuckle has written to his family.
breaking the news of your betrothal.
Yes. He has been making up his mind ever since Monday, and now he has done it. The second gun was the signal that announced the casting of the die. My condition of suspense is something awful. You see, Rodney Tuckle supports his family entirely, and so is compelled to defer to their opinion in every way.
when I confide to you that Napier Port was to communicate with his uncle, Sir Wellington Port, who commands the Royal Rampers, this very morning, informing him of the understanding arrived at between us and urging him to consent to the appointment of an early date for our union, you will comprehend my condition of mind.
And when I explain that Cheveley Thrupp is a ward of the court and has corresponded with the Lord Chancellor per reply postcard upon the subject of our engagement, you will realize that I require some keeping up just now.
Would it lend an impetus to your failing energies if I mentioned that a straw hat is growing on the top of one of the laurel bushes in our front garden?
It would depend on the color of the ribbon.
Green with a pink stripe?
Oh, tell me, girls, he may come in.
Who's he?
Mr. Cheveley Thrupp. Oh, do beckon encouragingly. It's proper for me to maintain a maidenly reserve.
Oh, very well.
That hat hesitates. Now it vanishes.
Its place is taken by another, military, with a peak.
It can't be. Yes, it is. Napier Port. Join in, join in. I oughtn't appear eager.
Tell Amelia to open the door.
She can't. She's taking in coal.
She takes in coal at every pour.
What are we to do?
I shall put on my hat and occur accidentally on the doormat. Just going for a stroll.
Oh, I say, Miss Murgatroyd.
Oh, who's that? Mr. Thrupp! How you made me jump!
Oh, what a shame. I never intended.
I know you didn't.
The fact is, I called.
How unfortunate that Mother happens to be out.
Oh, beastly.
Let me introduce you to my sister, Mr. Cheveley Thrupp.
Happy to.
Oh, take it away.
Gracious.
Oh,
Which port is this?
Lieutenant Napier Port.
It's you. Oh. Well, then. Lady fainted.
Ah,
Hey, Cassiopeia, dear, this is Mr. Cheveley Thrupp.
so nice of Mr. Thrupp to look in. Vesta, darling, Mr. Port.
Delighted.
Mr. Thrupp, Mr. Port.
Adida.
What do you think of him?
He's a little young, isn't he?
Perhaps by daylight?
What do you think of him? Don't you think he carries off his uniform?
He seems as if he had carried it off when somebody wasn't looking.
Oh, you will be disappointed to hear that Mother isn't at home.
Not at all.
I was just going for a stroll when you...
I thought I'd run down after parade, you know. Don't you know?
Bisla, Gassus, military men.
Oh, won't you sit, huh?
thank you. I prefer to sit here. It's near the sea.
I have often heard of you, you know. Don't you know?
Indeed. Now, if Rodney Tuckle's telescope happened to be turned this way, he would undergo agonies of jealousy.
Your sister, your elder sister,
Oh, no.
your younger sister?
Oh, no.
You have heard from the Lord Chancellor.
The control of the old president, the old Farce has maintained a chilling silence.
Have you confided our secret to Sir Wellington?
I have an appointment at his office in half an hour.
How do you think he'll take it?
I think he'll take it swearing, you know. Don't you know? He's a remarkably fine soldier, my uncle, but he's seen a good deal of Indian service, and the curry has got into his constitution, you know. Don't you know? I mean, but I have most reason to be apprehensive of my aunt.
Your aunt?
Yes, my aunt, Lady Port. My uncle commands the regiment, but my aunt commands my uncle, you know. Don't you know?
I'll go and talk to your sister. She seems lonish. We're full of joy, Willa.
Lovely. For this time of
Hope I shall have the pleasure of meeting you two tomorrow at the pier. She's not very chatter. Well, I must tear myself away. So happy to have had the opportunity. I suppose your mother would have no objection to my dropping in later if anyone should transplant a revel.
I'll worry the moment I've sprung the mine and told the colonel and my aunt.
Oh, what do you suppose will happen?
Well, I'm usually put under arrest.
For how long?
Oh, until one or the other of us cools down, you know, don't you know?
Oh, don't be the first to cool down this time.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Oh, let us hope that everything will come off all right this time.
Oh, let us make up our minds that our holiest affections aren't going to be played ducks and drakes with this time.
Girls, don't let us deceive ourselves. We know in our shivering souls, we know what will be ultimately the upshot of the communications made by Captain Tuckle and Lieutenant Port to their respective families. Experience, grim experience, warns us of the reply that the Lord Chancellor will make to the Chevalier Thrupp's impassioned appeal.
No, no.
Yeah.
We do know, but don't say it.
I must. He'll say, they'll say, in every case, it will be said that Peru is a long way off.
Oh.
Don't tear your hair. We're too poor to encourage waste of any kind. There's only one luxury we can afford today, and that is an explanation with mums.
An explanation?
With mums? What on earth is she to explain?
I don't know, but I've made up my mind. If there really is anything shady about us, we're going to learn what it is before lunch.
What was that?
The garden gate.
The whole door.
Mums, come back.
Rich! Oh, you wretch!
Mum's voice.
I mean, you miserable wretch! Go, never degrade my door scraper again. But till you've paid your bill, you'll leave your luggage, or my name isn't Emmeline Murgatroyd.
Oh, what is
what's
the matter?
What has happened?
Oh, what do you think? He's gone.
He?
Who?
Not the border.
The pirate who boarded us 3 months ago.
Gone.
There's only one thing I haven't given him credit for since he came, and that's a deliberate dishonesty. But today, think of it, I arrived home earlier than I expected and caught him in the very act of shooting the moon.
Shooting the moon?
Aided and abetted by that ungrateful girl, Amelia, a clandestine cab, was lurking around the corner. The hall door was open. In another moment, he'd have taken French leave, but for my opportune arrival. Indignation gave me strength. I collared him, he's about my own size, and shook him till he dropped his Gladstone bag and all his other belongings to the gravel. And now he's gone, with the worth of my girl's new gowns under his waistcoat. Amelia! Ah, she doesn't answer. She's ashamed to meet my eye. Pay her wages, a month's money instead of warning. Tell her to pack up. One of her military cousins can come and carry both box and baggage away. Ha! Here they are. Hostages, snatched from the enemy, his paisley shawl dressing gown, his shepherd's plaid, the slippers that have tromped up and down our distracted heads for weeks and weeks of galloping bills. He's wronged us cruelly, but at least we've a poor consolation of knowing that he should require a clean shirt or a razor to shave with, and then he must borrow or steal until our just claim can be defrayed. And as I've done what many another defrauded lady would like to do, I've scalped an insolvent lodger. Look here at this wig.
His wig.
Oh, don't be alarmed. I'm not going to faint. A woman in my position can't afford luxuries. I've been overexcited, but I shall simmer down in a minute or two. Children, I've made up my mind. What? That advertisement doesn't appear today. I'll try another method of making both ends meet. Rather than throwing open my door to another creature who smokes like a chimney and eats like a chaff cutter and pays nothing but cheap compliments in the long run. A lady of limited means, desires to find a middle-aged gentleman willing to board. All the comforts of home, refined society, musical evenings apply. EM 9, Shingle Villas, Roxy.
Well, we did find a middle-aged gentleman.
And he was willing to board.
More than willing.
Oh, a lady of limited means. I was a lady of limited means 3 months ago. Now, thanks to that fiend, I'm a female in reduced circumstances.
Mother,
Mother!
Mums!
Anything wrong?
your hair.
Your beautiful hair.
Cut off!
Cut off. Of course, so it has been. I quite forgot. Come here, chicks. I'll tell you a story, as I used to when you were toddlers, all about a lady of title who wanted a tale.
Well,
Go on.
We're waiting.
It begins with the hairdresser's shop, where I dropped in for a shampoo. In the next chair to mine was another woman. Her coronated carriage was waiting outside while she was having something done to her weedy wisp or two. I saw her stare at the hairpins came out, and my black ropes fell down and they rolled down over the cotton bib. I heard her ask the aproned thing attending her if she couldn't make her up a chevelure like that. And then, well, as he shook his head, a bright idea popped into mine. I saw the way to getting my girls new frocks.
Oh.
When we were left alone together for half a minute, I took the plunge. Pardon me, madam, I said. I'd give my ears to have a head of hair like that. She said, oh, I don't want your ears, I said but they were large and flabby. But for the price of the earrings on them, I'd sell you the hair, but not the head. After moments' suspicion of my out, and if a mother in England who wouldn't have done as much for her girls at a pinch, I don't know who it is. I can do without the pleasure of her acquaintance. That's all. Here, take the money quick before it melts away.
Oh, mums.
We never thought.
We had no idea.
That your mother was such a woman of resource, such a strong-minded, cool-headed, there's no doubt about the cool head. I feel as I used to when I was a curly-wigged girl at boarding school and played Romeo to Clara Talks Juliet before the holiday breaking up.
Oh, we've all heard that story heaps of times.
Oh, the balcony was built of class forms, reared on the kitchen table. Heavens, with what a crash the thing came down. And Clara
was your dearest friend, wasn't she?
Oh, almost. I used to tell her my second best secrets.
She was the girl who wore 3 sizes smaller in gloves than you did, wasn't she?
3 sizes bigger.
I knew there was a difference of 3 sizes one way or the other.
Oh, yes. And I found my place. I'm sorry. I'm just
Clara was
lost
my
this-
bridesmaid.
Oh, yes. The best. Yes, Clara was my bridesmaid. The best man was a callow young officer, a friend of your father's. Clara afterwards married him and went out to India. I've never heard of either of them since. What was her husband's name? I've quite forgotten. Something out of the wine list. Sherry? Ensign Sherry? No.
Shall we tell her?
I think we better.
Break it by degrees.
Mums,
My own?
It's the end of the season, Mums.
Oh, that's what I kept saying to myself last night. That's at the edge of an uncomfortable chair, surrounded by dowagers and doubtful diamonds, fanned by the flying petticoats of women old enough to be my aunts. It's the end of the season. Well?
We thought we ought to tell you. We're all engaged again.
Do you call that breaking it gently?
Break it yourself next time.
Oh, I'm afraid it will be awful, an awful wrench parting with us, mother dear.
1, 2, 3. Yes, it will be a wrench. 4, 5, 6. Drop. When it comes, forgive until management first. Your husbands?
Well, I introduced Captain Rodney Tuckle of the Gentle Gazelle to you on Monday night. He took you into supper.
I remember the supper.
I presented Mr. Cheveley Thrupp to you at the subscription hop on Wednesday. He took you into supper.
He was so much younger than the cold chicken he tried to carve that I remember him vividly.
You met Lieutenant Napier Port of the Royal Rampers last night at the barracks. He asked you to dance the Lancers, and you did.
Oh, I shall never forget him. A gilt-edged young gentleman in spectacles with a name I'd heard before. A talent for tango equaled. At last, completely took over, and then I plunged into the middle of the muddle and brought him back out as a retriever brings a stick. I took him into supper. Well, dears, with regard to these young men, the question which presents itself is...
Yes?
Yes.
Go on.
Well, in the language of the turf, are they stayers? Because past experience compels me to recognize the fact that your engagements are very fragile things.
No, oh, they are.
They are.
They are.
Short and sweet. 24 hours as a rule, and then up goes the board to let again, without any why or wherefore.
There is a why.
What?
There is a wherefore.
It's because Peru is such a long way off.
Oh.
Yes, it's all because Peru is such a long way off.
Mums, why haven't we a father?
Child, you have a father.
Yes, a father in Peru.
And Peru is...
No. Oh, girls, don't look at me like 3 fates. If you'd got him on the spot, what could your father do for you more than I've done?
A father could write checks and pay bills.
A father could buy new frocks.
A father could ascertain gentlemen's intentions in a cheerful, casual way.
And keep them from getting out of engagements in a cheerful, casual way.
A father in a good position is a perambulating certificate of respectability.
And the fact is that when we can't produce one in answer to inquiries, people think there's something shady and drop off.
And so the question we want to ask
is simply this.
Is there anything shady about us?
Shady? Well, there's nothing shady about you, but your eyelashes. Now, don't deny it. You've another question on the tips of your tongues.
It's this. Have you and Pa quarreled or something?
Oh, bless you. No, we're excellent friends. Or something. Ah, my chicks. You were bound to find out one day that your mother is that ordinary, commonplace creature, a neglected wife. Your pa and I weren't halfway through our honeymoon before I found out that I'd made a mistake in electing to trot through life in double harness with a stargazer.
Go on.
Well, it wasn't that I minded our being poor, although our income was so small as to be almost invisible without a telescope. It wasn't that we were friendless, though all his relations and mine too had settled down in different cemeteries over years before. The trouble was, girls, that your pa was already wedded to science when he went to the church with me. So when, 8 months into our marriage, the Astronomical Association proposed sending him out to Peru to superintend a transit of Venus, he jumped at the offer. I cried my eyes blind, but he was too busy experimenting with the new lenses to even look at them. He packed up a refractor and a driving clock carefully in cotton wool, and it never occurred to him to pack up me.
And then he sailed away.
Quite complacently, dropped out of my life, and 3 months later, you dropped in.
We
dropped in.
18 long years ago, and I've never clapped eyes on your pa in all this time. He left his agents in order to pay me £150 per annum, and left me with the cheering reassurance that I might expect him in 5 years when the transit of Venus was over. But bless you, Venus had no sooner got over her trouble than the sun broke out in spots, and it took your pa 8 years more to ascertain the nature of them with a solar spectroscope. And then he tumbled head over heels into a new crater he discovered on the moon, and he hasn't popped up since. Perhaps he never will.
Poor mums.
Oh, I'm a little sore on the subject, I'll own. Not that I can lay any claim to the heartache I've once had. Your pa had cured me of that with long absence and short letters.
They are short.
Unlike the spaces between them.
You needn't grumble. He does sometimes prescribe you a homeopathic dose of paternal affection.
Kind regards to Cassiopeia, to be taken immediately.
Our existence, Vesta's and mine, he obstinately refuses to recognize.
He behaves as if we didn't exist.
One of these days, I shall write and remind him that we do.
Ah, oh, wretched girl, it would ruin your mother. Oh, gracious, what have I said?
Mother!
Mums!
Oh, I knew a time would come when I should have to tell them, and it has.
Oh.
Oh, my girls, my girls. I've been weak, but not wicked.
And there is something shady.
Is that what? Oh, do you imagine for one moment that I'm a woman who did? No.
Oh, mums.
Oh, but oh, my owns, take advice from your distracted mother. When you marry, if at any time you've got the revelation of an unpleasant nature to make to an absent husband, don't imagine that it will improve by keeping it, for it won't.
Oh, do explain.
I'm doing it. When Cassiopeia was born 18 years ago, a cablegram was sent to New York, paid on for inland transmission to Peru, announcing the joyful event. Well, within 20 minutes after the dispatch of that message, there were 2 more causes of congratulation, and the house was upside down.
Ah.
Well, you comprehend the confusion. You were all squalling at once, and there weren't bottles enough to go round. Months passed before I had time to collect my wits. And then, girls, well, to begin with, your pa, like most scientific men, had a perfect horror of babies. He might have reconciled himself to one at a time, but twins would have been a terrible shock, and it seemed such a large order on the man's affections and esteem to present him with 3 daughters at the first go-off, that when I wrote, A ridiculous reserve kept me from,
From
well, from putting baby in the plural, in the treble, I mean. I said she was beginning to take notice, and I brought her a choral and a bell, and I'd vague ideas, I believe, of introducing you to him in installments. It was only when months had stretched into years, and I found an income calculated to keep two was a tight fit for four, that I realized what a dreadful thing I'd done.
oh,
Oh,
Oh.
Oh,
he must.
you two just said that Pa didn't seem to be aware of your existence. He isn't.
He must be enlightened at once.
Well, the times and times I've tried to do it, I've sat with the pen in hand for days, weeks. What reams of letters haven't I written and torn up? Sometimes I've thought I might break the news in the beginning like this. My dear husband, the weather has been oppressively warm. Your daughter Cassiopeia continues in excellent health, as also her two others, the other two others of whom, owing to an unfortunate oversight on my part, you haven't heard before.
it's pretty plain that we wouldn't do. That wouldn't do.
Oh, no, well, sometimes I've imagined slipping it in the middle. We are all anxiously awaiting your return. And when I say all, I mean twice as much as you suppose.
Well, it's equally obvious that wouldn't do.
No, that wouldn't do at all.
Do at all.
I have tried introducing it at the end this way. From self and girls, your affectionate wife, Emmeline Murgatroyd. P.S. The S in girls is intentional, not accidental. But I think it's absolutely certain that wouldn't have done.
No, that would never have done. A message
A letter.
A telegram
for
for
me.
me.
There's no denying it's a pretty kettle of fish. Two more fish in the kettle than Pa has been led to expect. Oh. Well?
A telegram from me. Awful scene. Under arrest while inquiries are pending. Sir Wellington will call upon your parents at noon today. Distractedly, Napier Port. Distractedly. Oh.
Oh, my precious, don't hoop, but explain.
Parents.
Sir Wellington will call upon your parents. Well, if he does, I shall explain that the other one is in Peru, sitting in an observatory at the top of a volcano, 15,000 feet above sea level, with a telescope at his eye. And Sir Wellington will simply say,
Peru is a long way off. Oh me, oh me, oh me. Oh, goodness gracious. My fifth engagement since Christmas, and is to be knocked on the head for want of an available father.
oh, it won't be knocked off the head.
It will be, and so will ours.
Pause.
They shan't be knocked on the head. You shall have a father.
The whole door.
More.
A caller.
Two callers. A gray mustached person with a purple face.
Sir Wellington Port? Oh my goodness.
And a white-haired stranger in a Panama hat. Suppose it should be a relative of Rodney Tuckle's.
Or the Lord Chancellor in disguise. What are we to do? What is to be done?
Done. Pull yourselves together. Tell that wretch Amelia to open the door for the last time.
Amelia, open the door.
Is she coming?
Yes, I hear her plodding along the passage. Oh, what will happen next?
You shall see. Be brave. Show yourselves gallant girls, not quaking jellies. And I promise you.
Oh, what?
What?
You've never yet asked me for anything that I didn't manage to get you, by hook or by crook. Now you've asked me for a father, and you shall have one, or my name's not Emmeline Murgatroyd. Bring the other things along. Come.
After a moment, Amelia, a sulky-looking elderly servant dressed in a cloak and bonnet, shows in Sir Wellington Port, a stout, handsome, irascible-looking elderly gentleman with a heavy gray mustache, fierce black eyebrows, and a military air. He's dressed in accurate afternoon costume, followed by Professor Murgatroyd, short, clean-shaven, bald as Persian, 45, with a mild voice and a rather nervous manner. Amelia, who carries the cards of the gentleman between her thumb and finger, crosses the stage, knocks, lays the cards on the table, and goes out hurriedly, huffily.
I have called. I have called, madam, in the interest of my nephew, Lieutenant Napier Port. I have called, I repeat, in the interest of my infatuated boy to request an interview, nay, to demand a poll. Ridiculous.
Emmeline in her wedding dress. Really a striking likeness. Now that must have been painted before I...
God, can it be Murgatroyd?
Eh? How did you know? Eh?
Huh. I exclaimed unintentionally, sir. It happens that the original of this portrait was an old friend.
Wellington Port, it is an old friend. Port, my dear fellow, don't you know me?
Good God, after so many years.
What an extraordinary coincidence.
Murgatroyd. The name struck me, but I never dreamed. Murgatroyd.
Shh.
Good God, can't I call you by your own name in your own house?
No, Port, no.
Are you not the husband of the lady upon whom I am calling?
If that lady's name is Murgatroyd, yes.
Ah, there is your wife in her wedding dress over the sideboard. Good God, Murgat.
Shh.
It might be only yesterday that I officiated as your best man. Tell me, Murgat.
Shh.
Tell me, Murgat. Has your wife changed? Has she altered, man, in these 18 years?
I am really not in a position to answer you, Port.
Good God.
You don't think there is any chance of our being overheard?
I think not, Murgat.
Shh. Then I can speak plainly. Shortly after my marriage with Emmeline, Port, I was dispatched upon a scientific mission to Peru. From that distant bourne, I have but now returned, after an absence of 18 years, and I set foot within these doors, my wife's doors, for the first time in my life.
Good God, Murgat. Doesn't she expect you? Is she not prepared?
I must reluctantly answer no to both questions.
Good God. Oh, then you're not aware that my boy, my nephew, Napier, has set his affections upon one of your daughters?
I have but one daughter.
Good God. Huh. I understood from my nephew that there were 3 girls.
One. Emmeline and I had been but 8 months married when I sailed for Peru.
Pardon me,
Shh. Pardon me, but not the name.
Good God, why not?
Because I returned without warning, and am here incognito. It has come to my knowledge, through an advertisement inserted in a local paper, that my unhappy wife has been reduced through my remissness in the matter of supplies to expand an attenuated income by the reception of a boarder. A lady of limited means desires to find a middle-aged gentleman willing to board. I am here, Port, in the assumed character of that middle-aged gentleman.
Good.
Jackson!
Jackson? Are you serious?
Port, I never was more so.
Then I respect your wish for secrecy. But one assurance before.
I thought I saw the handle turn. You?
You're quite sure, Jackson. Your memory has not misled you with regard to the size of your family.
Quite. A girl.
One girl?
Port, I am not to be shaken. A girl.
Good. Napier must have been mistaken.
They're coming. Remember, Jackson, Port.
Port Jackson. I mean Jackson Port.
Enter Mrs. Murgatroyd, the three girls. They are pale, frightened, and semi-hysterical. Her manner is a mixture of assured swagger and real nervousness.
Three girls?
And a man. Who is the man? Say something, Port. Say something.
Good. Pardon me, but my friend, Jackson.
The fact is, I ventured to call upon a lady of limited means, in answer to an advertisement. E.M. Shingle Villas, Roxy's, correct, I fancy?
Unmute.
I was. Quite correct. EM stands for Emmeline Murgatroyd, my wife.
His wife.
Allow me to present my daughters.
Daughters?
Permit me to introduce myself, Professor Murgatroyd from Peru.
End of act. Act 2. Pa. The action takes place the evening of the same day on which the events of Act 1 are supposed to transpire. Professor Murgatroyd is discovered at the rising of the curtain. His hair is disheveled. He is groveling upon his hands and knees on the carpet and appears to be listening with deep and apprehensive anxiety for sounds arising from the room below.
They seem to be all talking at once. One word, distinguished clearly, might yield a clue, but I cannot catch that word. High live hummings alternating with peals of hysterical laughter. Again! Now, if only, amidst the wild outbursts of this frantic hilarity, I could distinguish the accents of my wife, Emmeline.
A knock at the door.
Oh, please, sir. The gentleman old lady said as they know you'd seen them. There ain't nobody here.
Now, if I can trust my memory, Emmeline's was a joyous laugh.
Oh, gracious.
Who are you?
Oh, please, I'm Sooza, the Canoe servant.
I dimly recognize the young person who played quoits with the crockery at dinner. When did you come in?
Oh, please, I come in this afternoon, and they're to send my box out from the hub to matter boarding.
I should have said, when did you enter this room?
Only a minute ago, when you was listed down on the carpet.
Young woman, hasty conclusions are at times to be avoided. I was not listening down on the carpet. I was merely endeavoring to localize an obvious escape of gas, to which I shall draw your mistress's attention in the morning.
Oh, please, there ain't no gas laid on.
Then the drains are in a serious condition, and I shall infallibly complain to your mistress in the morning.
Oh, please, where is the business?
Eh?
I ain't seen no business since I've been here.
Are you veracious?
No, I'm from London.
You say that you have not seen your mistress? Who engaged you?
Oh, please, they let me out from the old on trial.
I did not ask who let you out, but who let you in.
One of the young ladies.
One of the...
And I sing master.
Master. Go on, go on.
He was in the kitchen in his dressing gown, cooking the diddler. Oh, what funny bad.
Ugh. Well.
Oh, please.
What?
Bastard is such questions.
Huh?
Oh, I don't call him gentleman. I don't. And I don't think I should stop in this place long. And oh, please, this carriage is awaiting downstairs to see Mr. Jackson.
Jackson? Some mistake. There is no Jackson here. Except myself, of course. Sir Wellington Port, Lady Port, instantly show them up.
Oh, I don't know. I should stop in this place long.
Ah, my old friend, faithful to his promise to assist me in this awful emergency. Why has he brought his wife? Perhaps he imagines the tack of a tender-hearted woman may be of... Again, those sounds from the room below. Voices engaged in excited argument. Unless my recollection plays me false, Emmeline's voice was rather musical than otherwise.
He listens intently. Sooza appears at the door, shouting in Sir Wellington, showing in Sir Wellington Port, who is in his uniform, wears a forage cup up and a heavy military cloak. Lady Port, who is martial-looking, middle-aged, of whom her husband evidently stands in awe, wears a costly dinner dress over which is a fur cloak, and a lace scarf is wrapped about her head. She and Sir W are laboring under suppressed excitement.
Oh, would you please walk in?
Wellington?
Murgatroyd.
Port, my good friend, must I again adjure you not, under any circumstances, to address me by that name?
It slipped out, Murgat. Murgatroyd, let me present to you Lady Port. You knew my wife 19 years ago as Clara Talk. She was bridesmaid at your wedding.
Delighted. But
Sure.
why?
Would come. Couldn't stop her. Tried, but no go. No go.
Pray be seated.
Lady P.
Lady P. Top of 34, middle 34.
Sir Wellington and myself, Mr.
Jackson.
Jackson, Clara. All right, that time. All right, that time.
Did we lose her?
I think she's frozen.
Yeah.
I'm back. I'm back. Sorry.
It's okay.
No worries.
Sir Wellington and myself being one, Mr. Jackson, for in view of the exigencies of the present situation, I will... Where are you? I'm sorry.
That's it.
There.
Yep. Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, and you were in the right place.
Oh. I'm sorry, where are you?
You were in the right place.
Oh, right. Okay. Sir Wellington and myself, Mr. Is that where you are?
Yes.
Sir Wellington and myself, Mr. I can't hear anyone.
No one speaking.
Yeah. Oh dear. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yes.
Can you hear
Yes,
us?
hear me?
We can hear you.
Hello?
We're hearing everything you're saying, Liz.
Oh, you are? All right. So Wellington and myself being one, Mr. Jackson, for in view of the exigencies of the present situation, I will consent to address you by an assumed name. Your wretched secret may be said to repose in a single bosom.
Oh.
While disclaiming emphatically any appearance of discourtesy,
I can't
I
hear
should have
anyone.
preferred that Sir Wellington had kept that secret to himself.
I tried to. I tried to.
Lady P.
Let it be said that let it be said that Sir Wellington pleaded toothache in excuse of the agitation which could not escape my vigilant eye. Under the circumstances, I did as any true woman would have done. I opened his mouth and looked inside.
Good gracious.
Did fact. I'll show you.
Arriving at the conclusion that the cause of Sir Wellington's indisposition was not in his mouth, I opened his mind and looked into that.
You don't know her. You don't know her. I think she froze up again.
I saw a horrid mystery rankling there. I inserted a delicate wifely forceps in the shape of a leading question and wrenched it out.
So she did. So she did.
Wellington,
Clara?
take off that coat.
Yes, Clara?
And give me my bottle. Yeah. You culpined.
Oh.
One of her fads. One of her fads.
An invaluable germ destroyer for home and abroad. I use it at home.
Stinks the house out.
And I use it abroad.
Wherever she goes, makes people sneeze.
Morally as well as physically. I implore it in the present instance. The atmosphere in this room of this house is such as I cannot consent to breathe.
Breathe?
Without the interposition of an antiseptic medium. These matriculous surroundings exhale ideas which pure-minded women should only imbibe from novels written by members of their own sex. In addressing Professor Murgatroyd by the fictitious name of Jackson, I countenanced a deception. Then, why am I here?
Damned if I know. Damned if I know.
The main object of my visit, apart from a burning desire to let Emmeline know what I think of her conduct.
Guessed that. Guessed that.
Please, I beg.
Is to ascertain, before proceeding to extremities, which is the eldest of these three girls.
Eh?
Our nephew, Napier, Outram Port.
At present, confined to quarters.
Our nephew cannot tell us, So naturally, we come to you. The assurance that Napier's affections were riveted upon the eldest of these three girls would place us in a lost painful position, a less painful position.
Why?
Good. Oh, why?
Wellington, my bottle. Oh, I really cannot consent to breathe this air.
Shall I put it plainly?
Brutally.
Frankly, Murgatroyd, in absolutely objecting to our nephew's union with one of the daughters of a damned scoundrel, we have no desire to prohibit his alliance with the sole offspring of an old friend. You follow me?
No, I...
Done it? Done it!
Wellington, you babble. In plain words, Professor, which of these three girls belonged to you?
Which?
My bottle.
No!
Murgatroyd, what is your daughter's name?
4 months subsequently to my departure for Peru, she was christened after my favorite constellation, Cassiopeia.
That the name that Napier mentioned.
Lucky?
What a relief.
Lucky!
Let it be understood, if we are not to entertain the idea of an engagement between your daughter and our nephew, that Cassiopeia must at once be removed from the inimical influence inherent in this atmosphere. Is she pretty?
All three struck me as pretty.
I said she. I alluded to her. I really cannot recognize the existence of the others.
Let me confess that I had not yet succeeded in sorting her out from the others.
Tell me, you found that poor, infatuated creature fearfully changed?
Creature?
I allude to Emmeline. Oh, how can I continue to breathe this air?
I have not seen Emmeline.
No?
No?
In spite of all my efforts, no.
Relate what happened after Sir Wellington left this morning.
Yes, after I left.
I agreed to the exorbitant terms that miscreant in the dressing gown demanded. I returned to the station, transferred certain necessaries to a new portmanteau purchased on the way, confided my other effects to the care of the officials, and drove back to dinner. At that chaotic meal, I sustained the character I now reluctantly support, that of a middle-aged gentleman willing to board with a lady of limited means. That lady did not appear.
Go on.
Well?
In the midst of the unmeaning merriment which prevailed at table, I sat in a sickly dream. At last, after 18 years, I thought, I am under the same roof with Emmeline. At any moment, that door may open to admit her. Will she recognize me will she recognize in me an outraged husband? Probably not. She doesn't possess a photograph. Shall I see in her a person plainly lost to all senses of propriety? Any resemblance to a once fondly trusted wife? Most unlikely, as the portraits sent to me on several occasions have, owing to the moisture of the mountainous region, been invariably reduced to pulp before they reached my hands. Would she never came, and, racked with suspense as I am, torn to tatters by conflicting feelings, it is to be wondered as if the meteographic register here indicates abnormal depression, which a prospect of heavy rain towards nightfall. Oh.
Don't give way. Don't give way.
I will strive for calmness, even though the peaceful paradise of my aspirations has been blighted by a serpent in shepherd's plaid trousers.
Knowing such a person to be upon their premises, I ask myself, how can I possibly continue to breathe this air?
Let me warn you that in another moment, the reptile, who has assumed my name and domestic responsibility, may ride into your presence.
Oh,
Explain.
I will. This apartment, sacred to my sole use by day, is destined, after 8 p.m., to be the scene of social recreation.
Social recreation?
Musical evenings were a distinguishing feature of Emmeline's advertisement. One of those evenings is imminent now.
I suffocate.
Good. Clara, come away.
Wellington, my respiration may be impeded, but my duty is clear. I remain.
No.
Again! That mad mirth!
They seem a cheerful family.
Lady Port, you were, years ago, her dearest friend. Do you recall the tone and quality of Emmeline's voice?
Don't you?
Though through life an imperfect memory has been my bane, I do not.
As far as I can recollect, a deep contralto.
A deep contralto?
Sir, I beg to differ.
Differ?
I was best man at Murgatroyd's wedding.
Yes.
The bride promised to love, honor, and obey in a high soprano.
I deny it.
High soprano?
Afterwards, when I kissed her
Wellington?
in the vestry, she cried, "Oh!" in the key of F sharp.
Port, could you pick out that F sharp now?
Murgatroyd, as an officer and a gentleman, I look upon the listeners with contempt.
As a lady, I could not condescend to overhear. But
under the circumstances.
Shh.
The door slowly opens. Mrs. Murgatroyd, still disguised in the wig and shepherd's plaid trousers of Act 1, but wearing a frock coat instead of the dressing gown, appears on the threshold, visibly backed up and supported by all three girls. Aquila and Vesta have changed their dresses for others, cheap and simple, but still pretty and suggestive of mild festivity. Cassiopeia wears rather consciously a shabby black velvet with a train, and her hair is dressed with ostentatious plainness. All four advance a few steps into the room before they become aware of the presence of the party on the carpet.
Nobody? Oh, well, I'm sure.
Oh.
Oh.
Don't make that damned noise, Clara. Good.
Merciful powers.
Oh, awkward, very. What shall I?
Don't disturb yourselves, I beg. We can look in again.
Pray, no. I have concluded my little scientific demonstration.
Wellington, my bottle.
Demonstration?
A demonstration of an hygrometrical fact, well known to so distinguished a meteorologist as Professor Murgatroyd. I refer to the tendency of air, heated air, to ascend. The professor will corroborate and verify the statement that air is composed of
The germs.
Thank you. Nitrogen forfeits, the remaining fifth oxygen, and an insignificant proportion of carbonic acid. Though invisible except in large masses and without taste or smell, and air is yet impenetrable, ponderable, impressible, and dilatable.
Anything else?
Not at present. Upon a future occasion, we shall look to Professor Murgatroyd to deal exhaustively and conclusively with the question of air.
I want some now.
Well, out of that. Well, out of that. Clara, permit me to introduce this gentleman.
Oh,
Murgatroyd's reptile. I mean, a lady port.
Charmed to meet you. Don't you say you were going? Oh, no? That's right. Come upstairs and take your things off.
sir.
Good.
Yeah?
I mean, let one of my girls relieve you of your wraps. Dears, let me present you Lady Port.
The girls bow timidly as Lady Port puts up her glasses. Vesta and Aquila cross to her and receive her scarves, but not her cloak, which she retains. Mrs. M draws Cass mysteriously aside. Oh, is the Gorgon going to stop?
She has kindly consented to refrigerate the evening.
Yes, yes. Oh, what?
Tell me at once what's wrong. Something must be. Whenever I approach that woman, she becomes paralytic. What? You're certain it's all... Are they very quite...
Quite.
Relief. Oh, how men can wear such treacherous things as braces. I can't imagine. Oh, bless you for your mother's own. I mean, your father's own. Oh, gracious. Come out all over cold beads whenever I realize what I've done. I'm better now. You've got on my...
Shh.
The black velvet.
I couldn't think of wearing colors while dear Napier is under arrest.
Oh, you take things too tragically. At dinner, you ate absolutely nothing.
Suppose you were a young girl like me, just engaged for the 5th time since Christmas, and your betrothed husband lay weltering in a dungeon. Could you be so unfeeling as to have an appetite?
Well, I should take in a little more, if anything.
Professor.
You were speaking to me?
Certainly. I was about to express the hope that this evening's symposium may be graced by the presence of Mrs. Murgatroyd.
Oh, why, of course. No, I fear not.
Oh, I trust no imposition.
She is not ill?
Never better. At least I should say, candidly speaking, gentlemen, Mrs. Murgatroyd is not quite herself just now.
Port, you observed that hesitation?
I did.
And you think?
Man was lying. Rank imposter.
I will expose him. Will Professor Murgatroyd obligingly enlighten myself, Sir Wellington and Lady Port, upon a point, a scientific point under discussion? What is the mean sidereal at Quexic in Peru?
The meanest you ever saw.
Indeed.
Everybody complained of it.
Thank you.
Clara, be more sociable.
Wellington, am I never sociable? All I can do is to breathe this air.
Breathe it more agreeably. Breathe it more agreeably.
Sir W gives up and joins Professor. They both shake fists at Mrs. M. She turns and catches them. They go off arm in arm to the room. The eyes of both are fixed upon Mrs. M., who nervously endeavors to evade their gaze. Comic business and exit.
Ah.
Gracious. Beautiful weather. We're
What is the woman doing with that squirt? It's not my line.
I think it is. The girls cling together nervously. Mrs. M rallies her courage and approaches again.
You're new to Roxy, I hear. Delightfully invigorating this atmosphere, don't you? When the tide is in, we get ozone, and when the tide is out, we get other things.
I cannot breathe.
Breathe?
Germs, germs.
Why, of course. How stupid of me. How thoughtful of you.
Oh, how can you dare?
I've had it. We've all had it.
Had it?
Influenza. Or it's had us all round by the nose. Modern people may give the complaint a high-sounding name, but that's what folks are accustomed to call a cold in the head when you and I were girls. I should say boys. Oh, why does she make me so nervous? Oh, what did you give a yard of that for? I mean, that lace. Gracious, what have I said? Something awful. I must follow and apologize. Oh, girls, I am beginning to realize the kind of person Lady Macbeth must have been to live with.
Oh, I'm afraid you haven't made a good impression.
Oh, child, a woman deprived of her petticoats has nothing to fall back on. She's like a peacock. All her dignity lies in her train. With a half dozen yards even of inferior satin dragging at my heels, I could quell, crush, subdue that creature, but under the present circumstances, whatever I have glanced down, I'm checked. Shepherd's planet.
Oh, don't give way.
Oh, something should. But I'll be brave. I'll bear up as long as they do. Girls, before I go, what is your opinion, expressed upon closer acquaintances, of the new boarder?
He seems a mild old gentleman.
He may, but I don't like his eye.
Oh, please.
Oh, please.
Well, I repeat, I don't like his eye. It's wild and furtive. Promise me not to scream all at once, and I'll tell you what I think of him. I think he has escaped from somewhere.
Somewhere?
Somewhere?
Oh, prison or asylum. And these port people know it. They humor him, both of them, to prevent his breaking out.
Nope, unmute.
Oh, when do you suppose he will break out?
Tonight, perhaps. There's the moon.
Oh, what a consolation if he does break out tonight, to think we have a man upon the premises.
Child, do you suppose I'm going to bed like this?
Oh, why did we take him in?
Why did he let us? I might have known that the terms I asked for were exorbitant enough to appall anybody except a lunatic. Oh, girls, what I'm going through for your sakes, mad or sane, I must go and be civil. Oh, if I had only had a bicycle, I should feel more dressed.
Oh, do you think we shall be gray-haired by tomorrow?
Probably, with crow's feet round our eyes.
Oh, which of us is going to Mum's assistance?
You're the oldest by 20 minutes and ought to set a good example.
Very well. Girls, if I should not survive, remember to engage in open hearse. The others are so stuffy.
That open hearse may be required for 3.
It may.
Sir W. I don't hear you.
Wellington.
Oh,
Oh.
Ah,
Ah.
Ha!
Murga, I was about to say, no signs of your wife.
It is Emmeline.
Good God!
Here, Emmeline, ripened to maturity and robed in black velvet. Oh,
Wellington, the familiarities of that person are insupportable.
I should venture to suggest that Lady Port should not remain.
I can command a regiment, but I cannot command Clara.
Professor Jackson, with reference to these three girls, I have ascertained which is Cassiopeia.
You have?
She resembles you.
Oddly enough, they all remind me of my family.
Oh. No.
I repeat it. My paternal instinct has been much misled tonight. At a certain moment I recognized, issuing from the lips of one young lady, the voice of my late sister Georgiana. The next I observed, luxuriantly massed upon the head of another, the superb hair of my departed brother Tom. The deep parents, the springs were ready to burst forth, when they were suddenly corked up by the discovery of a youthful replica of my own profile in the possession of a third. And see here.
Can it be your wife?
My wife? Lady Port, I am nerving myself for a desperate effort.
Effort?
Good.
If, in answer to repeated inquiries, Emmeline still fails to appear, I shall go myself to seek her.
Good.
Explain.
I am resolved at all hazards to obtain an interview. Your professional mastery of strategic measures shall aid me. You observe the French window on my right?
Yes.
This window, Port, possesses a balcony. From that balcony, a little iron staircase leads down into the garden.
Garden?
My plan is simple. I shall descend that staircase, gain the garden, re-enter the house unobserved, and pursue my investigations in the apartments on the ground floor. Hush!
Somebody is coming.
Cover my retreat!
Somebody coming?
Wellington, the attention of the usurper must be diverted by you, should he observe the absence of Professor Jackson.
You, Clara, must woo him from the topic with airy badinage. Above all, he must not be suffered to leave this room.
Wellington, I suffocate.
Action first, Clara. Asphyxia afterwards.
Just a knock.
A ring.
An idea. Emmeline has been spending the day out and has but now returned.
Good. Do you think?
I know. A woman's instinct is infallible.
Where have those people got to? Gone into the garden. Oh, bless that open window. If ever a woman wanted fresh air, I'm the man.
Please.
What?
What is it?
What is it?
Oh, if you please, 3 gentlemen.
3 gentlemen?
Mr. Thrupp, Cheveley, and Mr. Captain Tuckle,
Rodney.
and Mr. Port.
Napier.
Napier?
My nephew.
Did these 3 men did these 3 men inquire for me?
Oh, no. Which one of them was wishful to see the missus?
Then let them come up. No, stop. Oh, she's gone. Oh, it's useless. Oh, my head's going round. My legs are like jelly. Oh, I'm as limp as a starched petticoat after a shower of rain. Petticoats. Oh, let me once get safely back into mine. Nothing shall ever induce me to take them off again. Where are those girls? Why don't they come back? Who? Gracious. The fine old crusted warrior and the woman with the glare.
Professor, you are not a man.
Eh?
You are not a man, I take it, of pronounced political opinions. Ha!
You should have said that before, I think. Alone with these awful people. Oh, where do men usually keep their pocket handkerchiefs?
You returned suddenly
Suddenly?
from Peru.
Precipitatively.
Fine voyage.
Wobbly.
When did you start?
This morning.
Good God! You must have come by cable.
Well, of course. By the way, old friend, Mr. Jackson seems to have,
Knitting?
Do you do much of that?
I knit all my girls' winter ones.
Effeminate wretch.
Must have learned in jail. Clara, don't be cataleptic. Converse.
Wellington, if I am tried much further, syncope must inevitably supervene.
Professor, Ladyport is most anxious to
discuss the question of my girl's engagement to your boy. Of course.
Turn him from that topic, Wellington.
Change the conversation, Clara.
Of course, you can understand that to a young, inexperienced girl, just engaged for the 5th time since Christmas, I mean, just engaged, the subject of her marriage is all absorbing.
Clara, I confess it, I am at a loss.
Any subject, harmless and boring. Yourself, for instance.
No. Describe the latest drawing room offer to recite.
I am nothing if not candid. Let me confess that it is not in my power to make the young people any allowance. It is not the lot of every young bride
To find in the partner of her wedded days the domestic qualities which distinguished Sir Wellington. I do not exaggerate when I state that during the whole of our married life, a period extending over 18 years, Sir Wellington has never stirred without me.
Nice for him. At the same time, my girl,
I attended a parade with Sir Wellington, superintend periodical inspections of the married quarters with Sir Wellington. I make a point of sitting on...
Sir Wellington. As I said, my girl,
sitting upon court-martials with Sir Wellington. Amongst the rank and file of Sir Wellington's regiment, I have gained a name.
Several, I should think. Oh, thank heaven, the girls.
With Napier.
Oh, miserable boy. You have broken your arrest.
Well, don't you know?
Don't presume, sir, to argue with your aunt. Return to barracks and report yourself.
Oh,
Don't say you're going to shut him up again. Much better muzzle him and let him run about.
Sir, as the uncle of this besotted boy,
As the father of my girl, my 3 girls.
Father, I've often heard of you, don't you know? Oh.
Pleasure. Oh, trusted the professor. Can this be the distinguished man whom Miss Aquila honors as the author of her being? Oh, a sailor's grasp of greeting.
Oh.
Oh, what a relief. Dear Cheveley's tact will put us all at ease.
dear Napier's sparkling flow of small talk will set the evening going.
Dear Rodney's buoyant Irish humor will keep it on the move.
Sorry I'll burden your ear. Your lovely daughter Aquila has acquainted ye with the state of my affections.
No, she never said a word.
What?
I mean, she did mention that you, so you were practicing your pop gun this morning?
Ah, you're interested in explosives.
Oh, intensely when there's any danger of their going off. What did you say you were doing at college?
Cramming for my civil service exam.
Oh, what an inappropriate name. The civil service, isn't it?
I think you
Take the young woman behind counters in the post office, for example. They belong to civil service, but nobody ever gets a civil service out of them. What particular branch did you have in view?
I'm going into the woods and forests.
You must take care you don't get lost. Children, make an effort to entertain these images if you don't want to be motherless before the morning. A little music, eh, girls? Play that pretty duet the next door neighbors object to so much. That's it. And what do you say to a game of cards? While the young ones, something round or a rubber?
In common decency, consent.
Play cards with a member of the criminal classes? Impossible, Wellington.
Choke, if necessary, Clara, but carry this through. Remember to gain time for Jackson. Dummy whist, I suggest. Dummy whist.
Dummy, by all means. What should we play for? Nuts?
Nuts? Good God.
Keep it up, keep it up. Plenty of noise, plenty of noise.
Exit into the card room with the ports. The party are supposed to seat themselves at the table within the alcove and play, only the back of the chair occupied by the Sir Wellington and corner of the table being in view. The music ceases as Thrupp leans to the back of the piano, talking to Vesta, and Tuckle standing behind Aquila, whispering in her ear while affecting to turn over the leaves of the music book. Oh, I shall never forget as long as I live that you have endured all the horrors of a prison cell for my sake.
Awfully nice of you, don't you know?
Did your fetters gall you?
Oh, the mental anguish was distastedly excruciating.
They fed you on bread and water?
No, but the mess waiter brought my cutlets on a cold plate.
That was torture. Did it occur to you to carve my name upon the wall?
No, but I wrote it on the blotting pad, don't you know?
Of course, I should stipulate that in the event of our union, I should not be separated from my family.
Is that decision final?
Irrevocable.
Then farewell.
Stay, Rodney. Supposing that your stern sense of my wifely duty debarred me from personal communication with my dear ones, you would not object to my thinking of them punctually every afternoon at 4:30?
Maybe I wouldn't.
I should have your permission to occasionally correspond.
Maybe you would.
And to receive presents at Christmas and upon other anniversaries?
I've no objection to that.
Generous man, I'm yours.
By the way, what kind of engagement ring would you prefer?
Well, I've had 2 forget-me-nots and blue stones, and a double heart and red ones, and mizpahs, heaps and heaps of mizpahs. Suppose we say...
Look here! Have you often been engaged before?
Oh, not so often, when you come to think of it.
How often when you come to think of it?
Cheveley, would you have me betray the sacred confidence reposed by an indefinite number of trusting men in a single girl?
Oh, noble creature, never!
Oh!
Oh.
Sir W.
Sir, you must not You have not the most rudimentary notion of the rules of whist.
There you are, but imperfectly acquainted with the laws that regulate the behavior of a male guest to a lady, I mean, a gentleman in her own house.
You revoked, sir, 3 times running.
If I did, sir, you ought to have passed the circumstance over with a pleasantry.
Bah, sir.
Who, sir?
Oh, what has happened?
What hasn't? Oh, play, for mercy's sake, play. Oh, my poor brain. Quick, give me the little photographs.
Here.
Oh, you're a pianist, of course. Oh, how nice. All my little accomplishments went rusty after the girls were born. You can't comprehend what their teething must have been to a young mother. I mean, a young father, a father.
Wellington, my bottle.
Oh, why don't they go on? You're on the photographs? Perhaps you, this is my husband as a young man.
Good God.
Merciful powers.
I mean, my wife as a young woman. I don't know what I mean. Oh, so confusing. Being without a lap.
Oh, please.
Go away. What is it?
Oh, please, a person to see the bitches.
A person?
Oh, please. He says he was a boarder here.
Boarder?
Oh. And he's supposed to pay his bill and take away his bags.
His bags?
Oh.
Tell him he can't have them.
Oh, please. He wants to take them off immediate.
Oh, he can't. He shan't. Tell him, let him call again. Oh, excuse the interruption. Here's another, taken ages ago. My old schoolfellow, Clara Talk. Clara was my bridesmaid.
What? What?
Oh, giddy kitten. We used to have such romps together in the old days. Slept in the same dormitory and...
Sir! How dare you?
Dare?
Wretch! This is my photograph. My maiden name was Clara Twack, and that was before we were married.
No, you, Clara? Clara Talk. Oh dear, old Clara. Oh, for gracious sake, don't squall so. Oh, what have I done?
Villain, you have insulted my wife.
Mrs. M, with a shriek of terror and consternation, collapses limply in Sir W.'s grasp. The girls, with cries of terror and dismay, rush forward and cling wildly about Sir W.'s knees. Napier Port supports the swoony form of Lady Port. Chevalier Thrupp stands paralyzed with unastonished in the background. Captain Tuckle advances to the assistance of Mrs. M. Act drop. Act 3, Pa and Ma. Agitated music, Professor Murgatroyd appears at the window. He peers eagerly into the room. He is seen to climb into the window sill, take a penknife from his waistcoat pocket, open it, and pry up the fastening. The window opens slowly, and the professor cautiously enters the room.
It has been appropriately observed by a classic author that we know what we are, but we know not what we may be. Did I ever dream that, lost to all sense of shame, I should effect a burglarious entrance into a private apartment by means of an innocent implement usually employed for the purpose of trimming nails? Whence did I gather the fact that a patent window fastening can be opened with a penknife? I don't know. I have never met a housebreaker. Why do I feel as if I ought to meet with a policeman? They seem very quiet upstairs. Nobody, I hope, suspects the reason of my absence. Nobody, I trust, was witness of my stealthy departure. Oh, why do these felonious precautions occur to me so naturally? Any unprejudiced observer would suppose that I had done this mortifying thing before. What was that? Oh, I feel as if I had borrowed, no, stolen the conscience of a member of the criminal classes. Why should I guiltily at the thought of meeting Emmeline's eye? She ought to quail at meeting mine. She shall. What expression ought I to infuse into it? One of fiery indignation tempered with sorrow? In what tone shall I address her? Tone of sorrow mingled with fiery indignation. Now, while I am steeled to bear the ordeal, now. No answer. I thought I heard the rustling of a dress. I'll knock again. Nobody there. My instinct was not wrong. A lady's room. Ah! Good gracious, what's that? Something awful must have happened. People trampling downstairs. If they enter this room, I shall be discovered. I must escape without delay. But not by the window, like a common trespasser. Let me seek refuge here.
He goes out hurriedly, shutting the door cautiously behind him, as Mrs. Murgatroyd, pale, panting, and disheveled, totters in, supported by Aquila and Vesta, both of whom are in the early stages of hysteria.
Oh.
Ah!
Girls, am I still alive?
Yes, dear.
Oh, you're quite sure?
Yes, darling. You're a little shaken, that's all.
A little shaken, you call it? He shook me till my bones rattled in my skin. Oh, what a scene!
What a row!
What a racket!
What a shindy! Shh!
What's he doing now?
He's raving up and down the room.
Oh, nice old gentleman for an evening party. What's he doing now?
He's asking for blood.
Oh, cannibal! Oh, there's not a drop in my veins that isn't frozen solid. Girls. Oh, what has happened to Clara? I forget.
She screamed and became quite rigid.
They were unavailingly endeavoring to bend her in the middle when we left the room.
Mrs. M's, oh, I suppose my 5th engagement since Christmas is as good as broken off. Oh.
I feel that the happiness of my young life is about to be blighted.
Something tells me that my future is trembling in the balance.
Oh, children, if these men have hearts under their waistcoats or brains in their heads, they won't make an active volcano out of an ordinary mud pie. They must see, everybody must see, that the whole ghastly affair is a mere nothing.
Nothing?
Nothing?
Oh, less than nothing, when a proper explanation has been made to the people downstairs.
Oh, how are you going to make it?
How? Child, do you think I have no tact? Do you suppose your mother to be a woman who...
Well, that's just the awful part of it, with regard to the people upstairs.
Eh?
We know our mother to be a woman, but they don't.
We know our father not to be a man, but they don't.
We're quite aware that what has happened never really took place at all, but they aren't.
Oh, gracious, I forgot. Girls, there's no denying it. We're in a fix.
A muddle.
A mess.
A whole...
Oh, how are you ever going to get out of it?
Out of it? Out of them, you mean? Oh, mercy. Oh, somebody's coming downstairs.
Somebody's coming downstairs.
Lock the door and inquire to their intentions through the keyhole. If I am to be slaughtered upon my own hearth, it shan't be said I didn't strike a blow in my own defense. Oh, I fancy I can see the heading in the newspapers. Another poker tragedy. Horrible affair in a middle-class home. Who's there?
Who's there?
Myself.
Rodney Tuckle.
Are you alone?
I am. Barring one another.
Let that other speak.
Speak,
Don't judge, no man.
Cheveley Thrupp.
Let it in. Let him in.
Oh, tell
Tell
us,
us.
tell
Tell
us.
us.
Tell us the worst.
I will.
Keep nothing back.
I will not. My dear ladies. Me own girl, there's not the least cause for alarm. Sir Wellington Port.
Has taken the thing the proper way.
He has.
He regards it all in the right light.
He does.
There. I told you. I said he would come round, and he has. Don't deny it. Your tact helped to bring this happy change. Friend.
Champion.
Preserver.
Protector.
I say. Whilst get the young ladies out of hearing.
Tricks.
Now, give me your ear. The old gentleman,
The old gentleman?
the one upstairs,
Sir Wellington? Oh, what does he want now?
he demands an interview.
I won't see him.
You must. When a man has insulted a woman,
Well, that lady ought to refuse to accept an apology? Well, we won't be hard on him, eh, girls? Tell Mr. Wellington Port that I consent to receive him.
I will.
Stop. You'll stand between us.
I'll stand by you. I say!
Eh?
Ramaffa!
What?
Did you really?
Don't do that. Did who?
Clara!
Oh, go away.
Oh.
Oh, oh.
It's all right. He's only blowing off steam.
Ah.
Young ladies, to you it may be some apology is due, though I am prepared to defend my conduct to the last drop of my Captain Tuckle.
Colonel,
I understood a private conversation. The presence of these girls is most inappropriate.
me dears,
Oh, don't you stir. You can have nothing to say to me, Sir Wellington, that cannot be said in the presence of my girls. Pray understand that I do not insist upon an abject apology. A mere expression of regret on your part will be...
Sir, if I am to maintain any semblance of self-command, let me caution you to not go too far.
Am I talking to a man or a foghorn? I understand, Sir Wellington, that, upon reflection, you had come to regard things in the right light.
I have, sir, undeniably.
That you had determined to take things in the proper way.
I have, sir, absolutely.
Oh, I shall never forget your face.
No? I do not. I do not share your sense of humor, sir, to kiss a lady under her husband's nose.
Under her nose, you mean?
Do you know that Lady Port is in a serious condition upon the ottoman downstairs?
Serious condition?
Stiff as a board, legs like posts.
Gracious.
Lightheaded on coming to. Prattles of early childhood. Then came the cry, Wellington, avenge me! And I intend to do it.
Now, don't go off again. If you've no consideration for me, think of my girls.
I am speaking in a whisper to my considerable personal inconvenience. I am restraining my movements solely in the interest of those girls.
Oh, much obliged, I'm sure.
But another retribution than mine may involve all in one comprehensive crash. Imposter! Mountebank! Be warned! Jackastrade has returned!
Jacka! Who?
Knowing myself and my wife to be in full possession of the facts connected with your abominable imposture.
Oh, mercy.
You will comprehend why I do not demand from you the satisfaction of a gentleman. Oblige me, therefore, by making it convenient to be horsewhipped tomorrow morning.
Horsewhipped? Ah!
Between the hours of 10 and 11.
Girls! Children!
What?
Oh, what?
A mere trifle. I'm to be horsewhipped, that's all.
Horsewhipped?
Submit to such an indignity, I never will. I'll go down on my knees first.
We'll all go down on our knees.
Would ye shelter yourself behind petticoats?
Oh, if I only could.
You called yourself a man.
Oh, why did I?
Outram!
Eh?
Coward!
Of course, we're all cowards.
You repeat that.
Certainly.
You do? Then advise me by making convenient to be Kane tomorrow.
Kane?
Between the hours of 12 and 1. Miss Vesta, Miss Cassiopeia, receive my humble apologies. Miss Aquila, a parting sigh. Sarah, accept my contempt and scorn. So Wellington has finished with you tomorrow. I'll be ready to begin.
Imagine we may take it for granted that my fifth engagement since Christmas is broken off.
No.
Cheveley will intercede. His eloquence will soften these obdurate men.
Yes.
Lose no time. Go.
Fly.
Why?
You fear their violence?
Nay, but I consider under the circumstances,
The circumstances.
it would be derogatory to interfast.
Then bid me goodbye forever.
Goodbye.
I think we may regard it as an established fact that my fifth engagement since Christmas is broken off.
Mums.
Well,
It's the end of the season, Mums, and we're all disengaged again.
Yes, we're all disengaged again.
It is useless to fight against fate. Tomorrow I shall buy a cat.
I shall go in for women's rights.
I shall become a lab scientist.
Oh, why?
Think of the opportunities afforded by such a profession for revenge upon the opposite sex. Mums,
Yes?
why were we born?
Having been born does seem so unnecessary. Just now, doesn't it?
Such a lack of originality in the idea, wasn't there?
If we had asked to be launched upon existence, there might have been some excuse.
But as things are,
As things are.
Things are.
Oh, why is Peru such a long way off?
that's what I say. Why is it?
A father, a real, genuine father would be a distinct advantage at the present crisis.
A tower of refuge. He could counsel us.
Protect us.
Take responsibilities upon his shoulders, such as
Horse whippings and things.
Oh, if you please.
Who's that?
Who spoke?
What is it?
what?
Oh, it's the new girl from the house. As for you, young woman,
Oh, please.
you were sent in an emergency.
Oh, please. I was sent in a cab.
Up to the present moment, I have not had an opportunity of inquiring into your character. Let it be clearly understood that no domestic remains in my employment who cannot, when called upon to do so, show a clean record.
Oh, please. I've got two.
Eh?
One to wear and one to wash. And please, I don't like being asked such questions.
What?
I know young man is very particular.
Particular?
And so I'd rather leave immediate. Oh, I know I shouldn't stop in this place long. Oh, if you please, the gentleman's called again.
Gentleman?
Him as used to board.
That demon.
That wretch.
That fiend.
That creature. Oh, who is I just speaking of the business? I is sitting in the hole.
Sitting in the
Sitting in
hall.
the hall?
Positive determined not to leave without his tiding with his things.
Well, he shall have them. Girls,
Oh,
Oh,
what?
an idea. The man who got us into this
This?
shall get us out.
Out?
Out.
Go to him. Bandy words. Invent excuses. Keep him in conversation until I call. Away. Oh, my brain reels. Am I going mad? Oh, I must have been. I was insane when I rashly strayed beyond the boundaries of a woman's true sphere. Oh, if anybody should ask me that question, what are the boundaries of a woman's sphere? I shall know how to answer him. I shall rise up and shriek, regardless of grammar, her petticoats, petticoats, petticoats. Oh, but thank goodness I've not strayed too far. I've not gone too far beyond recovery. Oh, within that room, upon a peg, hangs my dear old self. I'll cast these awful responsibilities from me and be my dear old self again. Oh. Aha!
Ah!
Wretch! How have you dared to desecrate that apartment with your presence? There is only one man alive who owns the right to enter Emmeline Murgatroyd's room.
And you are not that man. The individual in question, the wronged and injured husband of that miserable woman, stands before you.
Madman! You rave!
Reason had tottered more than once upon her throne since the treachery of Emmeline Murgatroyd was revealed to me. But equilibrium, mental and mortal, has been regained. I will no longer conceal my identity behind the mask of a middle-aged gentleman willing to board with a lady of limited means. Usurper, to you, who for years have falsely assumed my name and domestic responsibilities, I make this crushing revelation. I am Professor Murgatroyd from Peru.
Oh, Oh, oh my stars! It's Pa!
Reptile, get up.
Oh, don't call me a reptile, Pa!
If you possess one spark of manly spirit, cease to grovel and hear what I have to say.
Oh, Pa! Come back to find me like this. Oh, what shall I do? What shall I do?
In the first place, let it be understood, I do not demand the return of the property you have feloniously appropriated.
Property? Pa! There wasn't much property.
I allude to the alienated affections of my wife. Nor shall I inflict upon you any corporeal chastisement. What is done cannot be undone. The trust, the confidence of 18 years of wedded absence, once broken, shattered, pulverized, can never be restored.
Oh,
But, well, fully admitting that Emmeline deserves the scorn and contempt of every right-minded person, I do not disclaim my share of blame. Far be it from me. Crocodile, if these unmanly tears...
Oh, don't be so awful, Pa!
Tears were of avail, I too might weep for Emmeline.
Oh, poor old Emmeline.
Even from you I will not disguise my consciousness that Emmeline is to be pitied. Emmeline has been wronged. Emmeline was left.
Oh, yes, Emmeline got left.
After 8 months of happy marriage, I left Emmeline, a young, inexperienced creature, exposed to the trials and temptations of the world. I tempted fate, I admit it, by this desertion.
Oh, don't be too hard on yourself, Pa.
Eh?
If you were a noodle to leave her, she was a ninny to let you go.
Absorbed, lost, merged in the pursuit of my astronomical investigations. I found little time to indulge in retrospective regrets. My observations in convection with a transit Venus, my experiments with the solar spectroscope, my measurements of the lunar craters engrossed me absolutely. One day, 4 months ago, I awakened to recognize the fact that while I had received year by year a considerable increase of salary, my poor Emmeline was still striving to make both ends. Not meet, but distantly approximate on a meager marital allowance of £150 a year. Shameful.
Oh, not shameful. Call it skimpy, Pa.
Conscience, awakened after a slumber of 18 years, began to nibble hungrily. I looked for and found in a seldom visited receptacle the letter in which Emmeline recounts the first efforts of our child to localize familiar objects, where, with maternal pride, she alludes to the purchase of a coral and bells, and Conscience left off nibbling and began to gnaw. Involuntarily, I sought distraction in observing the habits of a peculiar species of spider whose web is employed for the purposes of astronomical measurements. We bred them by the thousands at the observatory.
Oh, don't.
There, before my eyes, was a stout, elderly spider.
Oh, where?
There, before my eyes was a spider, a married spider, actively engaged in assisting his better half in the discharge of her domestic duties, including the education of a young family of one. What a lesson. What a lesson. My own neglected responsibilities appealed to me more powerfully than ever. Conscience tore at me like a famished tiger. I thought of my wife, of my child, resigned my Peruvian post and returned home to find you, viper, nestling in the bosom of my family.
Oh, of course. The void you left behind was very great. But I tried my best to fill it. And though I was very young and inexperienced at first, I haven't done so badly. Well, look at my girls. Oh, gracious Pa. Pa, don't gurgle.
Hear me. In this, the orbit of a ruined home, I shall revolve no more. But here I reach the point of occultation and vanish into space forever.
Oh, no, Pa, no.
I demand an interview, brief but painful with Emmeline. Then I and my child, for I do not forget that one of these 3 wretched girls is my daughter.
They're all yours.
Do you dare?
Yours, I say, and Emmeline herself shall prove it.
But where is Emmeline? Produce her.
I will.
There is no one there.
Ha! Ha!
My brain whirls.
It shall feel like a teton. If only wait.
Wait?
Ferguson, the 3 girls have explained. It's all right.
Right?
Of course, you're Thingamy.
Eh?
You're the father of what's her name? Don't you follow me? Buckingham Palace. Graciously pleased. 3 guineas, buy baby clothes. And imagine it, I shook her, my God. You ought to have seen Clara's face.
Have you seen Emmeline?
Emmeline? Of course. You've seen her. We've all seen her.
Oh, please.
Eh?
The person in the hall, you do keep on so, asking for the missus. Where is the missus?
Where is she? That's what I want to know.
John,
Who calls me John?
the only woman who's got a right to. Catch!
Oh,
Bastar's dressing gown. Bastar's coat.
Catch!
this is really...
Biggest throne.
Oh,
Bastar's sir. Air.
oh, what is the meaning of this?
You'll see. Catch, John?
I am stupefied.
Bastards. Oh, I'm glad I'm not going to stop at this place long.
Mrs. M enters in her own dress, carrying the bag and hold all used in Act 1.
Where is the man who sailed away to the other end of the world 18 years ago and left his unhappy wife to qualify for a queen's bounty? Oh, John, don't you know your poor Eveline?
Good gracious. Can it be?
Girls. Chicks, come here. Oh, my dears, your pa has dropped in on us, tumbled out of that crater in the moon.
We know.
No.
Oh, Mama.
Oh, look at him, girls. John, this is your little lot.
A triplet port.
Triplet, Murgatroyd.
A triplet, Emmeline. Oh, I breathe again. Let me kiss my niece, that is to be. Nephew, I approve your choice.
Oh, kiss him, pa. Girls, kiss your pa.
My darlings.
Pa.
Dear pa.
Pappy.
Oh, mums. We've had an explanation.
An explanation?
Yes, with Rodney Tuckle.
And Cheveley Thrupp.
And Lieutenant Port.
And the upshot of it is, Emmeline,
And the upshot of it is, Mums dear,
That we're all engaged again.
Oh, bless you, my chicks. Oh, John, while you've been sitting stargazing at the top of that Peruvian volcano, what a lot of common, ordinary, unscientific happiness you've missed.
Mr. Jackson must admit that Professor Murgatroyd has been in error.
Emmeline, I am penetrated with remorse.
Girls, Pa says he's sorry. Shall we forgive him?
Yes.
yes,
Clara, old friend, I have no need to ask your forgiveness for my little masquerade. To you and the mothers of England, I make my appeal. If I sold my hair to be woven into frocks for my girls, why, you'd do the same for yours tomorrow. If I put on a pair of them to serve my girls at a pinch, well, so would you, and you, like a shot. Let others call me fond, foolish, doting if they will. You at least will say, what she has done, she did because she was a mother. And oh, John, if I forget the past and love you as I used to in the dear old days, it will be because I'm a wife in 1,000, as well as a mother of 3.
Curtain.
Picture and curtain.